I believe it is my job as a content creator to share memes that I find with all of you, as long as I can make them instructive. So today, my friends, I present to you the pterodactyl defense of the modern, the beef eater variation. I'm not even going to have a long intro. All I'm going to say is that I'm going to give you the theory, the moves are in the description as always, and at the end, 3 games as always against subscribers. So the beef eater variation is something with black that begins after d4, we play g6, setting up bishop g7, and this is good if you're going to play the King's Indian, if you're going to play the Dutch, so you have to fuse a few things together here. c4 by white, bishop g7, and knight c3. The beef eater can become a thing with these moves. First, we're going to cover the beef eater, then we're going to look at if our opponent is a vegetarian or a pescatarian or a vegan and doesn't want to engage in beef eatery. So here we play the move c5. Subscribers. So the beef eater variation is something with black that begins after d4, we play g6, setting up bishop g7, and this is good if you're going to play the King's Indian, if you're going to play the Dutch, so you have to fuse a few things together here. c4 by white, bishop g7, and knight c3. The beef eater can become a thing with these moves. First, we're going to cover the beef eater, then we're going to look at if our opponent is a vegetarian or a pescatarian or a vegan and doesn't want to engage in beef eatery. So here we play the move c5, kind of activating the dark squared bishop here. Some of the more classical fans from the older days might remember this as the Gingy Indian defense, named after Roman Djindjikhashvili. And the point here is that if white pushes, we take on c3, and we then play the move f5. And now we have arrived at the pterodactyl defense of the modern beef eater variation. It's like, why? Why did we do any of that? Well, let me explain. We've traded off our dark squared bishop, which normally is supposed to be our beacon of hope on g7.
Bro, what
However,
is this eval saying
we have
though?
damaged our opponent's structure, and this pawn locks the c4 and c3 pawns in a row. Those pawns can be targeted with the opening of this square for the queen, like this. Our knight comes to f6, and with our f-pawn, fights for control of the central square e4, and essentially what our setup looks like is, for example, knight f3, knight f6, d6, this cascade of pawns, right? And this leaves a bit of an opening on e6,
Or something to
but
get
the
planted
knight
there.
getting there isn't that bad, because we can just take, and now our opponent has the bishop pair, 2 bishops versus our 1, but the position is super hard to navigate because it's not so clear how to break. And our plan is very simple. We will play
Bro,
queen a5,
I have no idea,
we will
Mark.
play knight to d7, and we will combine some ideas of whether we're going to play down the middle on the king side or on the queen side. So down the middle basically means knight comes to e4 and we pressure like this. That's useful if this bishop is passive and hasn't come to d3. On the king side could mean we play h6, g5, expand on that side of the board as long as we have
This
the
opening
castle.
makes
And on the
no
queen
sense.
side
It looks
can
so
mean
bad.
knight b6, knight a4, so something like this to hit this pawn, or something that I do in the practice games, trying to set up some
Honestly,
sort of
now
way
it doesn't
to
look too
push
bad.
the
Once
b
everything's
pawn
developed,
forward, which will destabilize the center like this, and open up the A and the B lines for our pieces. I love this system because of how tricky it is. I'm now going to show you the most critical response against the beefeater, and then we will look at everything else. The trickiest lines, in my opinion, when you play this pawn to f5, which does admittedly look like it weaken your structure a little bit. First things first, if white just tries to hit at you immediately, and if you take, plays this move f3. This is considered the critical main line. How often will you face it? I can almost assure you never, but you have to know what to do. Hikaru recently played this exact variation in a Title Tuesday literally like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and you just play e5 here. The point is that if white plays pawn takes here, you have this check. So you check and you win this pawn, and potentially more. And the best move after e5 is d takes e6 and the very cool knight c6. The point being that after pawn takes, bishop takes, okay, white still cannot take because of queen h4, and you're just gonna go queen e7 and castle this way. How terrible is white's position? It's the 10th move of the game, and white has not developed a single piece. Come on. Stop. Stop it. The other critical variation is the move h4, which is a lot more natural looking than the move e4. That I can guarantee you, and against h4, you actually need not worry. Queen a5 is still perfectly reasonable. If here something like queen c2 happens, you have knight f6. I mean, h5 looks a little bit scary, but even taking it is like it's not so bad. Because this is hardly anything. Queen cannot come to f.
Interesting. Interesting. Weird. Sometimes Streamlabs just messes everything up. Bro, like, whose mans is this, and why are they messing up my chessboard, bro? I'm just straight up not having a good time. Oh. There we go. All right. All right, let's go for the old faithful London system. I guess we're gonna castle queenside now for sure. Let's get this knight out here. All right. Let's see. Here, here, here. here, 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 here. Then what? Hmm. Oh no. If he takes. Okay, he takes. I want this laser eye right here. Yep. Mm. Mm. Not the end of the world. You're gonna try to plant here. Yep. I figured you might. If I go back here, he's gonna move this pawn up. Um, take, take. Wait. You're not bringing your queen out, are you? You are. There's got to be something I can do here. 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 Okay, that's what he's trying to do. Okay. Castle. Boom. Too easy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's 100% fine. Do what you need to do, brother. You can have that pawn. I care little. Oh, I just forked my pieces. Sick, bro. But he doesn't see bishops can go that far. Dang, bro. He blundered that, bro. That's tough. I mean, if you move your king, bro, you're mating one. Yeah, I'm not playing the best of this game either, so I can't really say anything. Because if you move here, check here, mate. Like, bro, you better take. Do not go there. Whatever you do, bro. This should not take that. This should not be that long of a decision. He's gonna be up 3 pieces anyways after this happens, so Oh. I mean, okay. Cool. I guess. Take. All right, let's see. If I take check, that's mate. Because I block myself in. So I need to keep this. Okay. Here. Then trade the rooks. Okay. Oh, that's mate. No, that's mate. Oh, I hung mate. Oh, I hung mate. Oh, I hung mate. I hung mate. Oh, I hung mate. Oh, I hung mate. Oh, I hung mate. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't see it. Don't see it. Don't see it. Oh, man, I hung mate multiple times. Oh, my gosh. He didn't see it. Oh, bro, if he just takes that, that's mate because I can't do anything. So I block and then he just takes and he's got me double crisscross applesauced. Wowie kazowie, bro. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I need to get out of here. Here. Wow. It's not really a free pawn here because if I take, okay, now I can take. Now I can take. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. Here, here, check. Here, check. Here, check. Well, that's the only hope I have. All right, so here, 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 here. Okay. Oh no, that's mate. That's mate. Shoot. Yep. Oh, I had a missed win. Where was it? Where was it, bro? Dang. Get in here, Mark. Let's get in here, brother. I had the lead. I had the lead. And then what threw it? Because you can't move that. Dang it, bro. That's stupid. I'm just an idiot. There's no win. Okay. Mark, what's your username, brother? Oh, you're George the GM. Okay. Are you on? There you are. Mm. All right. What do you mean by oh no, Mark? I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Ba 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 rain. Ba 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 rain. Ba 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 rain. Ba ba rain. Take my hand, Barbara Rain. Ba 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 do. G, brother. G. Oof. The fork. I got to get better, bro. I need to start looking. I have so much time. I need to look for checks, captures, attacks. Checks, captures, attacks. That's a fork right there. Then you gotta move your king. Wait. Oh. That. And the taking the. Oh my gosh. And then that's just the game right there, bro. That's just the game right there. Because then I take the. It doesn't even want me to. This doesn't even win? Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's watch. Not tonight, brother. We are gonna watch Gotham Chess in this newest video here. The recap of
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some water, and then we can all look at the recap from Norway Chess.
Welcome back to Norway Chess 2023 classical and Armageddon style chess tournament where every single game is worth 3 points and the Armageddon is 1 or 1.5. We're halfway through the tournament, and also thank you for dealing with my various camera settings, and moving is always a pain, so I'm still figuring out all of that good stuff. Today we said goodbye to Hikaru, and that's what we are going to start with. Said goodbye to Hikaru in a unique fashion. As always, I've got some Hikaru games. I've got a Carlsen game for you. I've got an update on the standings. I've got an update on the world rankings. Here we go. Today it's Hikaru versus Firouzja. Firouzja is currently battling for world number 2, and he is currently battling for number 1 in this tournament. It is Hikaru Firouzja. They are number 2 and number 3, trailing only Fabiano Caruana, and their classical game of chess begins with e4. Hikaru plays the Sicilian defense. Okay, that's wild. Why is it wild? Well, he's playing for a win. Hikaru's playing for a win with black. Hikaru thinks that Firouzja is a volatile individual and thinks that he has good winning chances. And Hikaru plays e5, man. Like, Hikaru doesn't play anything else except e5. Now, one of the reasons he played e5 is because Firouzja does not play the Spanish. Firouzja is an Italian connoisseur. Firouzja loves the Italian. Loves it. And Hikaru, I suppose, just wasn't in the mood and decided, I'm going to play combative chess. I'm not in the mood for e4, e5.
So Sicilian is a combative.
And against Firouzja's Rossolimo Sicilian, I'm going to play g6. Now, I imagine that Hikaru had something prepared here. He probably had either the Kalashnikov or the Sveshnikov Sicilian prepared. I really do not think that Hikaru was going to play the Accelerated Dragon, but I don't know. So Alireza plays bishop b5, and Hikaru plays g6. This is the main line. Now white has the option to take here and do various things with these two pawns, or castle. And Firouzja castles. And this is a modern approach. You delay the capture on c6, Hikaru does this, and now black has the option to take really with either pawn, Hikaru does this. Black also could take like this and then try to play e5, and it's just a different thing, but he does this, opening up the b file, potential to play, d5 if he wants it, d6, e5 if he wants it, or just do nothing. Firouzja plays rook e1, Hikaru plays a massive sideline, which is queen c7, and Firouzja plays knight a3.
Bro,
Queen
they
c7
can get
is not the
away
most
with.
popular move.
They can get away with stacking pawns, bro. I start stacking pawns in the middle of the board, and I lose within the first 20 moves.
Generally, black is playing some e5s here, or black is playing knight f6 and putting the knight in the center like this. This is a very, 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 very flexible move. It's, in many ways, white can even do e5 now and prevent the move knight f6. But Firouzja plays the move knight a3 almost instantly, so clearly he knows what he's doing, and Hikaru plays knight h6, which has never been played before. Or at least it's taken us to extremely unique territory already, which is why Firouzja spends 26 minutes to push a pawn one square. And they wonder why classical chess is difficult to put on television. Like, folks, I'm sorry. Okay, I am going to go on a mini rant right now. Imagine you are at a sports bar. You know nothing about sports, but you are hanging out with a couple of your friends, and they are watching the television. You are drinking beer or juice, if for some reason you're 12 years old and at a sports bar. Your friends are able to explain any sport to you on screen, with maybe the exception of baseball, very quickly. How on earth do you sit staring at a screen for 26 minutes and the guy pushes the pawn one square? Like, this is unmarketable, I'm sorry. It's very difficult to market this unless you already have climbed some degree of the mountain that is the chess learning curve. I'm just saying. Anyway, the move c3 is designed to blunt the bishop and play the move d4. Why Alireza spent 26 minutes? I have absolutely no idea. I am unqualified to answer that question. He might have calculated c3, d3, d4, h3, any and all sorts of these moves.
That's wild.
Hikaru just castles, and Firouzja plays h3. Okay, he clearly played these moves quickly. That is the setup that he chooses, and now Hikaru plays f6. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is just utterly ridiculous that you can play chess like this, and he is just going to play knight f7. And also, in many ways, he is going to fight for the center. So Firouzja now plays d4. Very principled move. Hikaru takes on d4.
GMs are in a different
d5.
stratosphere, bro.
Everything that Hikaru has done so far is obviously in his prep. Knight h6 is in his prep. The very natural c3, h3. Hikaru's playing according to plan, plays d5. And now Firouzja plays bishop d2 after 5 minutes of thought. And now Hikaru spends 17 minutes. Obviously, after d5, you have this in your notes. After d5, you have this in your notes. You have maybe one of these two queen moves in your notes. I don't know, bishop takes h6. But bishop d2 is played. Bishop d2 is a very multi-purpose move. First of all, you have ideas of moving the bishop in that direction. Second of all, you have ideas of playing rook c1. Third of all, you have ideas of playing queen c1, pressuring this and this. And that is why Hikaru spends a bit of time and plays queen b7, which the computer was not fully liking, but it also didn't hate. Black also can play bishop e6, rook b8, and knight f7. I mean, all of those moves have various ideas. Bishop e6 is re-strengthening the center. Knight f7 obviously rerouting.
Yo, what up, Slav? What up, big dog?
Because this exchange leaves black with a pretty bad pawn on c6, but probably still manageable. But Hikaru plays queen b7 and then does this and this. And it's
Bro, it's a... Name me a game that you guys have ever played where you've had your queen on h7. Period. With majority of your major pieces and majority of your pawns on the board. I could not tell you any game that my queen has ever been on h7. Never. Not in a million years, bro. GMs are a different breed.
It's a very messy position. Look how much time Firouzja spent. Firouzja spent 26 minutes pushing this, and then he spent another 28 minutes on another pawn push. This man spent 26 plus 28 equals 54 minutes of this game pushing two pawns. I don't understand how you're supposed to market this to mass audience, but okay, whatever. Luckily, I'm not the one, doing this. Now we have this position. Very imbalanced. Black has 2 bishops, but one of them is kind of a bozo. Now the bishop can route this way. The knight can also jump in this way. Black has pressure here. Firouzja now begins a very interesting positional game. He puts the bishop out there. He plays a3. And now wouldn't it be wonderful if he could get a knight to c5? Yep. He now takes the knight. This is very sharp stuff. And plays rook e2 with this idea. And also knight e1, knight d3. Firouzja understands that normally a bishop for a knight is a bad trade. But this is a closed position. And in a closed position, he is going to reroute his pieces and have a very nice bind. He is going to play knight d3,
look at the magic, bro.
Knight on g4.
Look at the magic. Like, I am sorry, but it was just a few moves ago that they were at this position here. Like, look at all these pieces over here. Straight line here. This dude's not consolidated anywhere. Just watch how this magically just unfolds, bro.
A very interesting positional game. He puts the bishop out there.
Like, bro, when I play my games and I get my king tucked in there, I stay tucked up.
Yep. He now takes the knight.
All right.
This is very sharp stuff. And plays rook e2.
That's
with this
crazy,
idea,
bro.
And also knight e1, knight d3.
That's crazy.
Firouzja understands that normally a bishop for a knight is a bad trade. But this is a closed position. And in a closed position, he is going to reroute his pieces and have a very nice bind. He is going to play knight d3, put a knight on c5, knight h2, put a knight on g4, and he's going to be happy. And his position is very pleasant. Hikaru does not have a lot of play, but he has a very decent position, very resilient position. And it is Firouzja who is dancing with his knights and making good progress. You know, he plays h4. It's like looking like he's improving his position. And then he plays knight c5 and offers a draw. Game over. Draw agreed. And he takes Hikaru to the Armageddon. Okay. Here we go, boys. Now Hikaru plays e5. Friendly reminder. 10 minutes for white, 7 minutes for black, 1 extra bonus second on the 41st move of the game. If black makes a draw, black wins. And then black gets 1.5 points in the standings. Whoever wins the Armageddon gets 1.5 points. This time, Hikaru plays into Firouzja's Italian. Now, the reason Hikaru is playing into Firouzja's Italian is that in a rapid time control format like 10 minutes versus 7 in an Armageddon, first of all,
after all that, Drew?
Black can make a draw completely at leisure. And Hikaru just trusts his instincts because he's a number 1 or number 2 ranked rapid player in the world. It's him and Magnus. D3. And Firouzja plays this approach, which is very provocative, allowing black to play the move G5. And Hikaru plays king G7. And Hikaru goes knight back. He does not
pushing the king.
Now
are you kidding me?
Oh, also the F pawn.
Whoa, bro!
Hikaru
what a madman are you pushing the king, dog?
Going with his king side pawns toward Firouzja's very unhappy bishop on the G3 square. H4, G4. Now the knight has to go. Hikaru plays F5. Look at this. I mean, it's an avalanche. Pawn to F4, and the next move is simply winning. EF. Now Hikaru can play bishop takes F5, but instead of that, he does this. And here, white can maybe even sacrifice the knight and create an attack. But Firouzja instead plays F6, giving up the pawn like this, and enters this position as he tries to blow up the center of the board. Look at the time. Firouzja was given 3 extra minutes at the beginning of this game, and it is down to 8 seconds. Hikaru has equaled the playing field. Folks, you have to understand something. If you are given 3 extra minutes, you need to make use of it. Of course, Firouzja knows that. I am not in any way, shape, or form claiming to be a better chess player than Alireza. All I'm saying is, now Hikaru is on equal terms against the guy, and he has a draw in his back pocket. If 67% of a chess game means a win for another side, that's very bad. So Firouzja now has to take massive risk. He has sacrificed the pawn, and in a moment, you are going to see him sacrifice his rook. Rook takes e5, d takes e5, rook takes f6, queen takes queen, bishop, rook takes... Look at this. Firouzja sacks his rook for a bishop, a knight, and a bishop. And we have this. Who's better? 2 rooks or 2 bishops and a knight? Traditional brain would tell you 2 rooks. Traditional brain would be right, especially if the 2 rooks can coordinate and start beating up the weaknesses. So, f3g, fgf, c5.
Bruh.
Hikaru has now traded down into deep enough of a position that... Here's the problem, folks. Can white win? This is not a question of who is better. This is a question of can white win?
Because a draw goes to black in Armageddon.
The answer to this question, as time is ticking down for both players, and Hikaru now has a 2.5 minute time advantage. No. White definitely cannot win. Hikaru sacrifices like this. White is left with nearly no pieces remaining, and Firouzja just resigns because Hikaru is going to push these pawns, and even if Hikaru does not win, what Hikaru will not do is lose. Hikaru wins in Armageddon against Firouzja. Hikaru has won every single matchup that he has played, except against Magnus. You're going to be kind of tough to beat if you do that. Speaking of Magnus, he was in his own battle against the Norwegian number 2. Ariantari has had a tough time. Ariantari is always up against it at this tournament. He is a very good player. He's not a 2853 rated player. He's also not a 2750 rated player. He's a 2650 rated player. Ariantari is exceptional, but the ceiling in chess is absurd. But
That's
it's always
crazy.
interesting to see. Magnus
Imagine, bro, being a top GM in the world, and still being 200 FIDE classic chess points or chess elo points away, and being told that you're still not at that level. Is he like 10 of 10 in this lineup or something like that? That's wild.
also plays a Sicilian. Tari plays the bishop b5 check Sicilian, and this kind of becomes a dragon. So much like
And imagine your number 2 being, he said that's Norway's number 2, so obviously Magnus is the number 1. Imagine being the number 2 and still being 200 FIDE points below, and that makes all the difference in the world. That's crazy, bro.
I talked about the accelerated dragon. This is the Maroczy setup with e4, f3, g2, and c4, b3 potentially. And it's a setup that is very cancerous for black. It is very difficult for Magnus to beat his opponent in a position that looks like this. Look how solid white is. It's just very difficult. I mean, listen, this is like, you know, driving your car into a brick wall and saying I made a dent in the wall. Yeah, but what about your car, right? I'm not saying I've ever done that, and I don't condone that at all. Now Magnus plays h5. All right, Magnus looking to try to expand a little bit on the king side and be a little bit provocative. e6, Tari plays h3, and now Magnus plays this move d5. And one of two things will happen when black plays d5. White will panic and lose all his pieces, because as the board is opening up, there's going to be crossfire among all the pieces. Or number two, white is going to trade all the pieces and make a draw. cd, ed, ed, knight d5, knight d5, rook c1, rook c1, bishop d5, bishop takes a6, Ariantari is a pawn up. Queen e7. The bishop comes back because it did not want to get taken. Okay, Tari's pawn up, look at that. Well, no he's not. So all the pieces got traded. It was a massive sequence of moves. The players are both left with b, f, g, h pawns, and the exact same material. However, one trade can make or break a game. So for example, if white plays bishop takes knight in this position, white is probably immediately going to be worse in the long run. Immediately in the long run. That was terrible English. But there's just absolutely no need to rush like that. Tari plays bishop c3, and Magnus plays knight e6. And again, we are at a moment where potentially we can have some trades, but this one would be bad for white, because you cannot take back the bishop. Queen e3, knight e6, and now the bishops come off the board. And it looks like we are headed for either a draw or a Magnus win. Why are we headed for a Magnus win? Because the evaluation bar says so. And also because Magnus is very good at squeezing water out of stone in positions that otherwise just don't look squeezable. All right? King h7. Rook d5 centralizing. Queen c7 pitting the bishop to the rook. To the queen, rather. Rook d8. Now, if bishop takes e6 is played in this position, there is rook d1 check deflecting the rook from the defense of the queen.
Oh,
which would be very tragic.
Filthy, bro.
Bishop f1.
That's filthy.
Magnus doesn't trade queens. Rook d2 infiltrating. There we go. There's the Magnus we know. Here is the Magnus that is going to crush another 2650 rated opponent in a position he has no business winning. Tari pushes his pawn to b5. Tari has pawns extended deep into the position that are barely being held onto, and his entire row of pieces is reduced to nothingness, aren't we all, on the back rank. Rook c2, he's just going to play on Tari's nerves. Bishop c4, now it's a heavy piece endgame. Queen g5. Magnus has a minute. He plays king g7, queen d6. He's looking for his opportunity, and now rook b4. All right, rook b4. Magnus also could have played queen f4 in this position, which would have secured him a pawn, but I suppose he was not fully convinced that this was winning. He plays rook b4, and he's infiltrating closer. And in this position, he had a winning chance, which was rook f4, which is utterly ridiculous. And the idea is queen d4. The idea is to meet some rook c6, with queen d4 defending the pawn, cutting the king's escape, and rook h4. This was one of Magnus's missed ideas. Rook f4 was, not queen d4. But that one was a little bit dank. And now Tari goes for the king. And in this position, Magnus has a winning idea of queen a1. The point of queen a1 is to team up the rook and the queen. After something like queen f2, the king runs out. There's queen e5 check. And apparently, the king is just in some serious trouble here on the g3 square. Black is barely not winning this position, and it requires this incredible defensive resource f5, and still white is going to be down a pawn. But Magnus misses a win for the second time. And now Tari's king runs out. And I think there was one more moment here that it was scary, but look at this king. g4, and when it's all said and done, it's a queen endgame, and there's nothing. And Magnus is unable to win another classical game of chess. Folks, this is big. We have now played 6 out of 9 rounds. Magnus has not won a game in classical chess. I don't know the last time that this has happened. I mean, like, I feel like now is almost like every single time that Magnus hits a record of no, it's not a low light, but I mean, it's surprising. We're just kind of like, what's going on, you know? But they have to play Armageddon. And we just saw Hikaru defend an Italian in Armageddon. Let's see how Magnus defends in Armageddon. a3, h3, he takes, he puts his knight in the center. He now wants to play b5, d5, and all this good stuff. There it is, pawn on d5. Very solid, right? Rook d8, and now Tari has to start attacking Magnus. Bishop c5, he puts the knight on f5. Tari is going for mate. Magnus says, okay, you want to come in? Your knight wants to come in? All right, fantastic, come in. Let's go. Come into my position. Knight h6. Come on, knight h6, look at that. Look alive, but if you play knight f5, I'm just going to go king h8 back. Well, Tari's here. Tari barked. Now he's got a bite. Queen g4. Bishop takes. Tari drops out with the knight. Takes like this. If you take, I'm going to take. There you go. I'm going to take on h. Wait. Wasn't that just a free knight? Yes. That was just a free knight. There would have been pressure here, here, and here. And Aryan Tari here has nearly 4 minutes up on the clock. He can take this knight for sure.
Oof.
Now,
Nerves
obviously,
got him.
he probably thought about f4 looking quite good. The computer finds pawn takes d4 and is just completely unafraid of the position. But Tari is a human. And he thought that after this, he would have 2 hanging things that he could capture, which is why he did that. Magnus immediately jumps in, and the knight has arrived. And the knight is pressuring everything in the position. Queen h4, rook g8. Magnus blocks against the attack. Boom. Knight drops back. Rook d6. Rook h6. Aryan Tari has a trapped queen. Queen e5. Rook h6. And it is an obliteration. King g1. Rook takes g2. But before you play rook takes g2, you have to take the queen. Aryan Tari resigns. Magnus wins again in the Armageddon. So, outstanding. Folks, before you depart this recap, I would like to give you an update about Fabiano Caruana. Fabiano Caruana in this game had the black pieces versus Nordjebek Abdusattorov, and he played the Berlin. Fabiano Caruana is the leader of Norway Chess. We have to cover his games. Yesterday, he overpressed a bit and he lost bishop c5 dc. This is called an anti-Berlin. Fabi plays bishop e6, plays bishop around to h5. It's a f6. This is the position. Very closed. 8 pawns
It looks
each.
so symmetrical.
What now?
Looks so
Fabiano
nice.
also continues rotating his knight. He still will refuse to commit his king. And now he plays g5. And Fabi brings the fight to Nozirbeck. 8 pawns each. The utmost of closed positions. Nozirbeck plays knight to e2. It's still completely unclear what's going on. I feel like these pieces are just playing Twister. You ever play that game? Bishop f7. Okay. But now, this is a very clear indication of hostilities by Fabiano. Fabiano is trying to win this game. Fabiano Caruana is trying to extend his lead in the tournament. And Fabiano Caruana is trying to retake number 2 in the world and wash Hikaru away from that spot. Take. Not only is the position closed, all 8 pawns are standing on their home squares, like on their home ranks. A4. H4. A5. B5, keeping that side closed. A6. Now both sides have been thwarted. Bishop doesn't see any targets. Now we have the following position. Now, D4. Very tense moment. What is going to happen? Is the pawn going to take the pawn? Is the pawn going to take the pawn? Is the pawn going to push? Is the pawn going to take? Is the pawn going to take? Is the pawn going to push? What is going to happen? Fabi says, you make the decision. This is the pawn going, what do you want to eat for dinner? You want Thai? You want Mexican? You want pizza? And this pawn saying, you choose, I don't care. Now, faced with the decision of Thai, pizza, and Mexican food, or the counter option of, I don't care, you choose, White responds, I don't care, you choose. Now Black has the option of Thai, pizza. Forgot the other one. Thai, pizza.
Mexican food, you silly.
What did I say? Oh my god.
No,
That's true,
Slav.
Maybe I'll
No.
remember it by the end. I said Thai, pizza. Oh my god, this is so frustrating. I feel like you're going to just be yelling at me at home. All right, we're just going to move on, and I'm
It's
going to watch the
Mexican
replay, and
food.
then I'm going to remember. King f8. King g7. This is ridiculous. This is I mean, it's like a staring contest. Nobody's moving. Queen f2. The entire game is just going on. Queen c7. Now that sees that, so you probably have to go b4. Nope. Now b4. Bro, this is staring at that, which 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 is staring at that. This is ridiculous. Nobody, I mean, the tension of the pawns is killing me. Finally. Queen e7. Now it's back to the tension. It's back to the maneuvering. Nodirbek takes. Fabi takes. Pressure here. Again, all close positions. Pawn breaks. Pawn breaks. And maneuvering. Pair of rooks has been traded. What's going to happen in the long run here? Can the bishop get to these pawns? Can this bishop get to these pawns? Probably this is a draw, but we're going to... Oh! Nodirbek is counterattacking. He's attacking on this side, but this could soften up these pawns. Bishop e6 and knight f7.
Oh, I was about to say,
H4,
isn't that-
uh-oh. Poking. Prodding. Queen h8, h5. The pawn is snuck through, but it's still equal. King g2. Now Nodirbek is looking for some sort of rook h1. Queen h6, king f2. He's bringing his king, but now Fabiano rips open the position again. Bishop e3. The queen goes back to h8. Pawn takes g4. You can take it, but Fabi rotates the queen. Infiltrating on c2 and giving the bishop a little bit of backup to the g4 pawn. He takes, and now the bishop plays bishop h3, simultaneously creating an opening for 2 pieces on the g4 square. The king slides out of the way, now infiltrates the queen, and he takes on e4. Is the position disintegrating, or is Fabiano's king in danger on the h7 square? Knight to e3. Knight takes h6 played. Now, rook g1 and bringing the rook back is the right decision, but instead Nodirbek can't resist. He takes on c4, but now king g7. Bishop f8. Deflecting the king backwards. Queen h6. And the knight comes back. But when the dust settles, it's Fabiano Caruana up 2 pawns. And it is Fabiano Caruana marching the pawns forward. f3 check. White resigns in view of queen to f4. Fabi just won with black. Not only did Fabi just win with black, Fabiano Caruana leads with 13 and a half, up 2.5 points on Hikaru, who is up 2.5 points on Ali Reza. It is the Fabi and Hikaru show in Norway, and I don't even think they've played each other, but to be honest, they might have played each other, and I just forgot. But I don't even think they've played each other, because I already forgot what I said there.
Yeah.
Hikaru is now no longer world number 2. He's down to world number 3. Very close race with Ali Reza. Norway chess is heating up, and Magnus Carlsen tied for 6th and 7th place out of 10. Shocking. Half a point out of 8th. What's going to happen in the next few rounds? We better find out. Get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite series on the internet, Guess the ELO. Over the past year of recording these episodes, many of you have laughed, cried, and everything in between over the 5 games that you see on your screen. But
I am going to call it a night. I am tired. I haven't slept very well the last couple nights. So we are going to try to get some sleep tonight. So love you guys. Again, like always, call somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Tell them you love them. You never know when the day might be your last. I will see you guys later. Wish me luck tomorrow. I have the appointment with the surgical team, so we're hoping that they'll give us a way forward in removing the tumor, and then we'll go from there. Tumor removal, then some chemo and radiation, and we'll see what happens after that, guys. And you might see a different me in the next few weeks to months, but yeah. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I hope you guys have a good night. And yeah, as always, hold the line until next time, guys. Peace.